and starts to kind of put his fingerprint on the North Carolina Ultimate community, from the youth levels to the college levels to obviously club and pro. Can you speak to what this means to bring a title to Mike and kind of what he has meant to this organization since 2014, even before you guys took the field?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think everybody on the team wanted this for Mike as well. I mean, you see the hard work he puts into just so much more than just like the on game or the practices. Like behind the scenes, he does so much for this organization, and all the other, his wife does a lot as well. All the other staff, they help so much. So I mean, we want that for the whole community. It's huge.
Honors, do you have an appreciation for the heartbreak this organization had? I mean, you're a rookie experiencing this glory. Maybe you were the missing piece.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was, Ring 2019 might have something else to say, but I think we got another shot at that one this year too. So.
Oh, and there are a couple guys wearing black jerseys tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The other way, but that's a conversation for another time.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you guys got broken the first point of the game on offense. Is that part of the plan to get their confidence up a little bit?
I like to joke that we are keeping it interesting for our fans to improve the loyalty of our fan base. Just got to tug on their heartstrings a little bit every game. Messed one up on the first point, but then didn't really mess anything up the rest of the game. So I think blips happen, and that's when we shake off right away. And D goes out and gets the break back before halftime. So
there were so many points during that game where I thought, this must be the definitive moment for Raleigh, and now thinking back that you have won it, was it when Ben Katz dropped the disc? Was it Saul Yannick's D in the end zone? Was it farther down the line? Was it Alex Davis's save towards the end? At what moment did you think we have won this game?
For me, I think it was when Tim got that layout D on Jack off the timeout. We turned it over and they sub in the O-line and we put the defense out there and they immediately get it back, which is just amazing. I think that's just a testament to the pressure that we're able to apply to them. And I think that Flyers games tend to have a lot of those moments because we're applying such consistent pressure all night defensively. So, thanks. Anything else?
I mean, for me, I was locked in, not paying attention to the score. So it wasn't until that last point I was like, wait, we're actually winning this game. So,
so I had seen these jerseys before the game. I had not seen this hat. It looks like there's a Flyers flavor to that.
That is pretty cool.
Flyers championship.
It does look a little Flyers. Got the wings on it. Yeah, it looks good, right?
Yeah, shout out.
Sounds like Mike was prepared for this one, huh?
Yeah. I'm not sure if
that.
the league made these hats or the Flyers made these hats.
Yep.
Wow. We've talked a lot about the 0-2 start and the losses along the way. You've now avenged all those losses. You got DC back. You got Atlanta back. You got New York back. Was there something about facing a team a second, or in the case of DC, a third time, in figuring them out, or was it just more so you guys building your chemistry, coming together better as a team, and becoming the best version of yourselves late in the year?
Yeah, I think definitely it's easy to come play a team that you lost to by one. Go into the game thinking that we should have won last time, and we know that we'll get them this time. Whereas they probably have a little more pressure, thinking that they barely beat us the last time. So that's certainly a thing. And we know New York pretty well at this point, pretty familiar with the stars on that team. So in terms of game plan advantage, I don't think there's much going there. Thanks. Cool.
Well, congratulations on an unbelievable weekend, an unbelievable season, and now you got to handle the pressure of being defending champs. So.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully there's no pandemic to separate your championship run from the next one. But I'm going to let you guys go and ask if you could send over your head coach over here. I got to have a conversation with him on this stage because he's been waiting for this for a long time. Maybe send Noah over as well.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Thanks so much, guys. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Jacob Fairfax and Anders Jungst. Two guys on this O-line that just didn't give New York the disc all night long. And, it's easy to say, we're going to take care of possession, but Daryl, in the biggest moments, there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
Absolutely. I think we were, Tyler and I were watching the game, and I felt this. You talked about belief right from the start of the game, right? To me, Saul Yannick was embodying that belief. Mike Dinardis was embodying that belief. You saw them celebrating every little win, whether that win was something obvious, like a big layout block by McAllister, right? Or if it was something where New York had a possession where they weathered a lot of blows, and they still scored. And you saw the whole Raleigh team come off the field and say, "That was great, D. I love that." And they start pumping each other up. New York never met them there, in my opinion.
Guys, Tyler no longer has the best beard on the set.
Oh, whoa.
Eric Taylor, congratulations. Welcome to our game day set. How does it feel to be an AUDL champion?
Pretty unreal. I mean, I think one of my favorite things about this whole experience has just been, like, you know, getting to see these old guys on ring that I've looked up to for, you know, so much of my career, you know, like, be leading us this whole time. I think Noah Saul in particular. You know, I feel like I've learned so much from him, and getting to hear him, you know, like, talk us up. I know everybody says Noah's the best motivational speaker. I'm sorry you guys don't get the experience of having him hype you up in a locker room, but he's been telling us all season, right, like, believe and it will, you know, and it'll come true. And I think just, you know, having that manifest and seeing it, it's almost like it didn't even happen. It's surreal and really incredible.
Well, you're going to wake up a champion. So it did happen. I mean, we all got to watch it. It was a treat to watch. During the course of the game, I mean, we've talked about belief. It seems like when something goes right, you expect it. When something goes wrong, you expect it, and you're going to fix it. How does it feel from the player's standpoint?
I mean, I think you really hit the nail on the head. It's like such a funny thing, the way that sports psychology works. It's like everything that you see happen is like, yeah, of course, that's exactly how we want it to happen. Like, we had this running joke. Noah somehow managed to win like almost every coin flip we had the entire year, and we lost the coin flip, and he's like, oh, perfect. You know, we get broken first no possession of the game, and we're like, he said in the locker room, like, as so many times before, you know, we've come from behind, and he's like, it's perfect, guys, exactly how we want it. And it's so funny because it really, if you believe, you suspend, you know, all externals, and you really, like, put yourself in that emotional and mental space, it really does feel like everything that happens on the field is exactly how it should happen.
It's not as simple as this, but there was a shift in the Flyers' mentality when you became more of a flex player, starting on D, flexing on to O. How did you kind of see the offense evolve without you? I mean, Mike pointed out that maybe we had a few too many mouths to feed, and Alan Laviolette took more responsibility. Obviously, Anders and Fairfax had great finishes to the season, but how did that kind of shift change the course of the Flyers season?
I mean, I guess it sort of goes, well, Daryl will remember this when we were on U24 Worlds when he was coaching me, and I said, I'm happy to play defense as long as the O does all right. And with guys like with Durs and Fax and Allen, it really just makes trusting what they're doing so easy because they're such talented and like really disciplined players. So the starting to D actually was a response strategically to our good friend Jack Williams when we played them in the New York game. Mike called me while I was driving to a friend's house, and he's like, hey, I've got an idea. And he proceeded to lay out this, this sort of description that, we had some good matchups for Ryan. AD played really well on him. And he was like, we really just don't have that top stopper, which is something that I did in college a lot. And, I'd like to think I can still do a little bit. So I got to cut my teeth guarding Rowan, and that was a great challenge. I think it definitely helped me get back in. And obviously I didn't get all of them with Jack. You never can, but hopefully I provided at least a little bit of limitation to give us the edge that we needed to win.
I mean, I love that you harken back to our U24 time together.
I would never forget, Daryl. Come on now.
I mean, you fix problems. Like I remember, in the final in Germany, we had a rough start with our O, and we were able to cross you over and have you, play an offensive role that helped steady the ship. But then you also got us a critical block while you were on the O line to help keep that momentum going, or at least get it back in Team USA's direction. Do you think there was any moment like that today, either by yourself or your teammates, that made that kind of shift?
I think that I'm such a process-oriented player. I really believe that it's just, executing as many little things well as you can. And hopefully you just, you win that odds battle eventually. And I think it sort of turned out that way. Like, obviously I'm not going to expect Ben Katz to drop a pull, but I was like, I'm just going to throw these pulls as well as I can, and we'll see what happens. And I say sometimes, a great story writes itself. And I think that's the same way it goes with playing disciplined and sort of fundamental, Frisbee. You play it long enough, you do it right. In the long run, you eventually win, and that story writes itself.
What's your advice to a youngster out there who wants to master that spinning pull that you have perfected?
It's rhythm, not power. Stay relaxed and just get a couple, don't run into it. Walk into it, do a little spin, and get it to go. And if you notice, almost all really great pullers, super relaxed shoulders, right? Like if you see a tennis player hit the ball really hard, they don't do this. They don't stay up really tight. You know, same thing with baseball pitchers, right? It's all about staying loose, letting that elastic, muscle contraction go.
Wow.
Sounds like you know what you're talking about.
I'd like to think so.
I
Well,
mean, yeah, it's just a whip. You know?
You are an AUDL champion, and this is a long time coming for North Carolina Ultimate. You are not a North Carolina native, one of the few foreigners on the team growing up in Ohio, but having experienced North Carolina the past couple of years, like, do you have a sense of what this means to the D. Riches and the Noah Sauls and the Mike D's and the guys who've been grinding for this since 2015?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how this isn't more well known because I think it's hilarious. When I first moved to North Carolina, I didn't have a job, came to the first ring practice, and I was like, hey everybody, my name's Eric, nice to meet y'all. I don't have a job. If you could get me one, that'd be great because otherwise I won't be able to pay dues. And Noah's like, you can work, you can come, I'll get you a job. And I was like, do I need to interview? And he's like, no. And for a while, Noah, Jack Williams, and I worked at I would like to affectionately call 2-bit contracting company for like a year and some change, which was really hilarious. So I like I said, I got to know Noah pretty well, and I mean, I see so much of myself, in future Eric. Hopefully, is a lot like Noah. This man, he loves Frisbee more than just about anything, and I think that. He brings so much to the team and so much as a mentor and as a leader, both intentionally and just as the way he is. And I think this is so much vindication for like a lot of, particularly Noah's identity and like Zog and D-Rich as well, right? Those are guys who have endured so much. It's really tough to like play and to be good and to have these high hopes and to fall short, right? Like it's the sort of unspoken thing about playing a sport really at a high level is you open yourself up to get hurt. And it happens, and it hurts a lot. So I think really getting that final, that last one is, it's just vindication for all of the, like, stick to it. It's easy to give up, right? And it's hard to stay with it. And I think that's why it matters to them.
We'll let you go in one moment. I want to get your coaching here. But any memorable moments from the handshake line with the past champion kind of passing the torch and congratulating the new champ?
I mean, it's hard to say any one in particular. I try to, stay close with lots of guys across the division, and there's a few guys on the Empire who I really like. And I mean, I hung out with Jack and Ryan at their apartment after our game in New York. We go back to Sub-Zero in 2017. So I mean, it's obviously really great to see those guys, and I really appreciate that they lost with a lot of class, and we're all very complimentary of what we had done.
Great stuff. Go enjoy it with your teammates. Have a great night. Congratulations, Eric, and look forward to seeing how the title defense goes in the years to come.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
Wow. What we didn't even ask him about the catch of Fairfax's hammer. You had that all the way, right? Yeah, all the way. Mike D, come on in here.
He's also a man of integrity. I mean, pretty humble there, but like I feel like multiple times this season we've seen Eric use an integrity call in big moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there were 2 integrity calls by Raleigh this game that were just world class.
Classy.
Yeah.
Megan, I'll let you introduce your old friend from Chicago.
Mike Dinardis, he and I go way back to Chicago, and one of my first memories of Mike Dinardis is him catching a Callahan at a tournament that used to be called Tune-Up, and I've admired him ever since. It's very sad to see him move from Chicago to Raleigh, but clearly it was Raleigh's gain as much as it was Chicago's loss.
Yeah, I caught 2 that game, but those are the only 2 in my career.
2 Callahans that game.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Man.
Can you put into words the feeling celebrating this one tonight?
I mean, it's just surreal. Like it's surreal, and I don't know if Eric mentioned it in the in this presser earlier, but Ethan Bloodworth was like, this feels like a storybook season. It's like you just get knocked around, and like it's gonna like be this heroic ending, and like when D-Rich catches the winning, basically the sealing goal with a cast on his hand, it's like a movie, right? It's like something that's just a dream. So, and all the years and all the guys that have battled through like Flyers and Ring and Men's Club in North Carolina, and it's just one of those things where it's like there's been so many hardships, and especially in the last 4 or 5 years where we're so close, and to get it is and the way we got it is just it's incredible, and it feels just amazing.
Yeah, the way you got it was incredible. I mean, that was just a beautiful game of Ultimate. You exhibited so much patience when there was a zone, so much intensity on D, and I mean, you have to be so proud of everyone's performance because everyone had a little piece of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it a couple times. It's like when we put together 2 good halves of Ultimate, we're pretty much unstoppable, and we did. There were very few hiccups in this game like other ones, and it showed. I mean, that New York team is great. They're driven by great players. They have probably better top-end talent than us, but we had the better team, and we played the way we were expecting in a championship level game. And super proud of all the guys and just all the hardships and all the stuff that they went through and the effort they put in and the growth. And it's incredible. It's just an incredible team, and it's by far like the best team experience I've had. I've had some great like college dark side experiences because I'm with them all the time, but for this short time span, it's such a great like bond. It's amazing to see how fast they bonded and how much they grew in this season.
Mike, it's been astonishing to watch you and your guys shake off the hardships, whether they're tough playoff losses from the past or double overtime defeats this year or getting broken on the very first point of the game tonight.
Right.
And I know you've kind of instilled this just continued belief in pushing forward with your team. How did you do that, and how did you get everybody to buy in?
I mean, like I said, it wasn't me. Like Noah, one of the things Noah instilled in our pregame is basically like a circle where we discuss basically how we're feeling at that moment. Random questions. Tonight's question, one of the questions was like, what animal would you be if you're an animal? But it was like a period of bonding every game where we got to feel each other and feel each other in the moment. And that wasn't my stuff. That was Noah's stuff. Noah's one of the elders on the team, but he's still trying to grow and win. And that was one of the final pieces where, you take all these young guys that are learning and build them up on the field as they go through these kind of tough experiences through the season, but also these little mental things that we instilled were super helpful. And that wasn't me, that was him. And, he's just a fantastic leader, and everyone loves him. Everyone wanted to win for him, and there's so many people that we wanted to win for, but he's the linchpin of this community, and he's a magnet for everyone because he's just a kind person and he's a great guy, and he found one of the few keys, one of the few biggest keys of our season to unlock that, get over the mental hurdle kind of thing. Right?
Fair to say he's been one of the linchpins of the community since his first year as a Flyer in 2015?
Yeah, I mean, 2012, when he moved here, he was just such an amazing, when he started playing on our club teams. But, he just, a lot of people would have quit going through the stuff we went through, and he was one of the guys that was just put my head down and learn and grow and absorb and get some of these new guys and get them mentally tough for these moments. And like I said in our last presser, or maybe 2 ago, a lot of these guys don't have a lot of the 6-year kind of mental stuff blocking them. And we just had to get them in the right frame of mind to succeed when we had that moment. And that's what happened. They performed when we had to perform. In all the games, all the playoff games, we had to perform. They stepped up and did it. It's a lot of 23 and 24-year-olds, which is pretty incredible.
It's interesting. A lot of people you've used the word storybook, and it feels like a story, and it feels like there are lessons to be learned. When you have a team that comes in as the expected champion, and they go through dominated season and win, it's hard to really recognize maybe yourself as a future aspiring player. But your guys' story, coming up, going 0-2, having there be question marks, doubts, but having that belief in yourself, having Noah Saul, established leader, presence, asking silly questions in the huddle to sort of create that bond. I mean, there's something special here. I think it'll be good for everybody to sort of go back through a little bit of this season and take lessons and learn a little bit more. I mean, it's been a joy to get to chat with you and a lot of the players, because you really meet them as people and you can sort of connect with them in a way that if you have a dominant team running through a season, it's just not as there. I mean, it's been wonderful to see you guys.
I mean, I think just to add to that, just quickly, I think I said another thing I said in one of these earlier pressers is I think we've had more talented teams. And it was, very win first oriented, where our goal was to win, and we had the best players, and we were going to win because we had the best players, and we didn't have that team bond. And that's, those are the lessons you learn. It's you can have a great team, but you need that cohesion. You need those people to believe in each other. And I think not to say those teams didn't believe in each other, but the strength of this team's bond was as strong as it's ever been. And that's why, even though we might not have had the best team on paper, we had the best success.
Team bonding happens organically, although during a pandemic, it's tough for that to happen. Curious how the long time off from Ultimate may have propelled or reinvigorated your enthusiasm, and how you guys bonded through the pandemic to build your way back to returning to practice and building what we saw tonight.
Yeah, I think that break is really nice because I think after 2019 it was a stressful couple seasons for us again, and having that break to kind of re-energize ourselves and get back on the field and feel that the feelings we have for each other on the field made us all appreciate it. Like I kept bringing it up. One of the things I would bring up every 2 or 3 weeks is like, remember where we were 2 months ago, 4 months ago. And it's super important to like continue to reflect, because once it gets back to normal, you forget how you felt then, and you forget those bonds. And that was incredibly important for me to just kind of edge back and be like, hey, remember this and how fun it is now that we're doing it. And I think that helped, like, reflecting on that and feeling that feel, when we restarted and how we felt, and trying to reinvigorate that. That is so cold. That's the coldest thing ever.
I can attest, it's pretty cold.
I can get electrocuted. So.
Wow. This is why I'm not a sideline reporter.
That's depressing.
among other reasons.
Anyway, let me try to warm back up for a second. Yeah, just to get that feeling, get that re-energized feeling, and just get back to, reintroduce that every once in a while, and make people understand we don't always have that. And there's a lot of people in this world that don't have the opportunity to play well in the level we were, and that's how we kept centering ourselves, and it was a joyful experience all year long.
Are you still as excited as you were before they doused you with cold water?
I mean, I'm warming back up. I'm fine. I'm from the Midwest. I've been cold before. I'm good.
I might have something for you to warm back up. If you want to remind yourself of something,
okay.
Maybe I can take you back to when you might have been talking to Jack Williams, was it?
Yeah.
On the field. Were you being a little spicy right there to him?
When I was integrating, when I was telling him to have some integrity.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be a little spicy with Jack.
Okay.
It was the disc down.
It looked like it was
Looked
on
pretty
replay.
down.
I had a decent view.
Yeah.
Way above everything.
Right.
I thought it might have been up.
Okay.
Well, I love the spice.
Well, I got to give my guy a little spice every once in a while. I mean, he's taken us to the woodshed a couple times, so I got to give him a little spice during the game.
You give your own players a good bit of spice during games.
Of course. You got to keep them on their toes. I mean, a lot of it's in jest at this point in time because, part of the season MO.
You were tight-lipped before the game about the tricks you had up your sleeve.
Yeah.
Can you articulate some of the things you did tonight that maybe you hadn't done before against New York that you felt worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, you saw what Atlanta did against them, and we took a page out of their book, but, we try to keep them unbalanced by putting a lot of soft pressure on and then put hard pressure on, and we did it a couple different ways. We threw out a new look that was, very, heavily based on pushing them force side, and they hammered out of it, and I was like, all right, this is done. We can't do this again. But the just mixing soft pressure and hard pressure like Atlanta did, I think yielded, a couple of those results at the end, just like it did in the Chicago game. Like, we pressured Chicago and broke them, but this was more of a balanced, some soft, make them throw a lot of throws. I mean, I think they had a 5-minute 0 point at one point to score one of their, one of those initial possessions. Maybe it was the first offensive point of the game. But
yeah, 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, 4.5 minutes. So, it was just trying to keep them on their toes by giving them different looks and just stuff they haven't seen before. And they haven't seen, any of those looks before. And we had probably 2.5 different looks. So we did that, and it worked really well. I think it paid dividends at the end when we decided to finally just ramp the pressure up.
Coach, you took them out of their rhythm for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I lamented that almost. Like, they forgot their identity, I thought. There were times, especially later in the game, I felt like they needed to speed up a little bit. And it seemed like they were pretty reluctant to take those looks.
Yeah.
How did you manage to take away or encourage Yacht? He wasn't Yacht the thrower or Yacht the receiver in this game.
Yeah.
He was just maybe a guy out there catching throws in space and moving the ball.
Yeah.
How did you manage to take away both halves of his great game?
I think it's just what I said. I think he got uncomfortable because he didn't know the space to go to. And I think Yacht is great when he's in rhythm. And we did it the first game, and I said it to the guys in the locker room. I said, he had 5 turns against us the first game because we balanced the pressure where we would be soft, give an under, make him thrower, and then put some pressure on his hip, make him feel that, try to make him cutter. And this was different. This wasn't balancing that, which we kind of did inorganically when I was like, hey, to Connor, I was like, play him harder. Like, you're playing him soft. He's getting unders at points. Go play him harder. And he did. And he did a great job after we, made that adjustment. But also, this version was soft and hard defense, where he couldn't find his spot, so he couldn't find his rhythm. And we couldn't play a 3-man game with those guys, and that was our goal, and it worked really well.
Mike, every good story, every good narrative arc has a moment near the end when the protagonist sees a huge test, right? Sort of that huge, gut-wrenching. It seemed like at the end of that third quarter, you guys had the opportunity, I think, to go up 14-11.
Yeah.
Call that timeout.
Yeah.
Immediate turn. How did it feel in that moment?
That was the low point of my game because so first of all, I have Saul on the line, and I looked around at the personnel, and I'm pretty sure D-Rich was out there, and I was like, all right, we got Saul, we have Eric, we can get a couple off, but then we're not going to get into flow.
Noah
I was like,
out there too.
Yeah, Noah was out there, so I was like, let's just call a timeout, and just get the O out there, and just run a good set piece, and just maybe run a reset to the middle, and then I botched I didn't call Durs off. Anders wasn't supposed to be on, and I didn't tell him explicitly to come off the field. I just called 7 and didn't call him, and he went on the field, and that's why we got the delay. And that was I put my head down. I was like, God, I just blew that one between the calling the timeout and then messing up who's on the field. So that was kind of the low point of my game. I lost a little energy personally with that, but I don't think the team did. I think at that point we had a lot of momentum, and it was we get that one, it's going to be broken time, and we just give it right back up, and I was like, damn it. But that was me. That's all on me. I think we should have probably let the D-line's O run a little bit for a couple before I called the timeout, and that's you make mistakes as a coach. I made a mistake, and I'll own it.
Well, without a timeout in the fourth quarter, your team did all right.
Yeah, I told them after I called it, I was like, well, I can't screw you guys up anymore, so you guys go to work, and they did. So that was awesome.
I assume Connor has shown you that throw in practice?
Oh, Connor's a great thrower. Connor's made some kind of mistake not choices, just technical stuff, but Connor's a great thrower. He's a great thrower in practice. He's just kind of not executed at points in games, but I fully expect him to hit that throw when it's that open, so he's a great thrower.
I was really surprised to see that New York didn't have defensive pressure enough to stop players like Youngst, Fairfax, and Fisher. And I want to ask, is Fisher okay?
Henry came in with a bruised rib, and I don't know if he cracked it or not, but he's just taken some lumps on that for the last couple weeks, and he was playing in pain for several weeks now, so I don't know if he cracked it or not, but if he did, then he's probably not playing for a little while. But he might just have bruised it. He was coming back to play. I think he played maybe the last point. I put Fax off for a point, but I think he'll be fine. I think it's nothing severe.
Well, all the same, they all had fantastic games.
Yeah.
I don't know
what
you saw from them that
sure.
just kept them ahead of whatever New York was trying to throw at you.
I thought we had good matchups for Durs. I didn't think they had a counter for Durs, and I also thought Babbitt was going to give Fairfax a lot of unders because Katz was going to poach a lot, and Babbitt's his safety net.
Yeah.
So Fax got a lot of unders, and the game plan worked pretty well. And then Fax, I think at that point in time when Babbitt started applying pressure, I think Babbitt was tired, so he still was doing a good job getting what he wanted on him. But essentially, I was trying to drag Babbitt under so he can be deep help to open up some of that free space. And then just matchup wise, yeah, I think Durs had great matchups the whole game. I think Fax, as long as Babbitt was going to stay at roamer, then Fax had a lot of space to work in, and that's pretty much what happened. I mean, they mucked us up pretty good at times.
Congrats, buddy. Thank you, bro. Long time
Love you.
coming, baby.
Yeah.
Love you. See you soon.
See you in a week.
That was cool.
Yeah, so, I think they had matchups for certain people, that were good, and I don't think they really had plus matchups against us, but I think they could get us pressure matchups and with their sets. But like I thought Durs and Fax particularly had like a good matchup game, and Durs provided us an outlet for a lot of this game like he always does, and he did it in small spaces more than big spaces, which I expect him to do a little more in big spaces, but he did what was expected, just a little bit different version than I thought.
Before we let you go, I got 2 final things. Let's give a shout out to the real MVP of the organization, your wife.
Yes.
Who's all the behind the scenes work.
Yes. Gosh, she is what an amazing woman. She drove up here today and brought my 2 sons, and my son was on the field. And one of my sons was on the field, and after about 5 minutes, he's like, "Where's mommy?" I think he was like a little bit much for him. But my other son was on the field the whole time, and he was having a great time. And she's just a freaking rock, and she does so much for us behind the scenes, and does so much for the team. She's doing all the stuff for the road trips, and she's an amazing support system for me. And I couldn't ask for a better partner in life.
Lastly, do you have a message for all the doubters out there who said Raleigh would never get to this moment?
No, I don't. Whatever, they can doubt. We won. So I do want to say, like, our fans and the people that have been in the Raleigh like Frisbee community, men's, women's, everybody has been, in spite of like the difficult stuff, they've just been so supportive and so awesome for our organization, and I'm really happy, for the fans to give them this, and for the people that came before us that didn't get one of these. Like, it's for a lot of the people that worked really hard, and we saw suffer the retirement thing in that 5 to 6 year time span when we were suffering a lot of like tight losses where we thought we could have won. So, a lot of this is for them.
Mike Dinardis, congratulations. You are an AUDL champion. The Raleigh Flyers are the AUDL champions.
A wet AUDL champion.
Go get dry. Enjoy the evening.
Thank y'all.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
What a job he did, and his entire team. And I mean, it was the first question I asked on the game day show today. Will it be the team with the top stars, or will it be the team? And the team prevailed.
Absolutely. Architect, coach, owner. Mike D did it all. I don't think people necessarily know all that this guy has built the youth scene in North Carolina Ultimate. He's built up the college scene. He's built up the club scene. He's the owner of the pro team. Raleigh, men's, and now he mentioned the women's Ultimate too. That community is more than tight-knit. It's ascended to the mountaintop right here today. We finally saw it.
So let's jump into the highlights with Noah Saul, and you can grab the mic and first, just what was going through your mind when the clock hit 000? Your last throw, by the way, was the 7th Flyers turnover of the night.
Oh wow!
So there were six turns in the first 47 minutes and 58 seconds. Watch the highlights with us and relive it.
Oh man, it was just a lot of fun. When we went up 3 at the end there, I think we kind of all knew it was coming, and you could kind of see it in each other's eyes. And damn, it was just a lot of fun. The whole game was the whole season's been a lot of fun, really. And this group, like I said earlier, just been so special and such a fun season, and it's so tight knit the whole way.
Were the losses fun?
I hate losing, but even some of those games were fun, because they were exciting, and we had the chance to win at the end, and so yeah, even some of those were fun, honestly. And I'm not one that probably would have said that 5 years ago, but I think the longer I play the game, kind of the more zen I get about things, and yeah, you gotta enjoy it while you're out here. So even some of those were fun, yeah.
It's interesting to hear a lot of North Carolina guys talking. There was a question to Mike D, like, what do you say to the haters? And he said, nothing. And in the past, I would have heard a lot to the haters. It's felt different this year. We talked a little bit about people like to play spoiler. That hasn't felt like the message, and maybe that's part of the thing that carried you forward. What would you speak to that?
Yeah, I think for a long time we kind of were hated. I think we were played as the underdogs a lot. So when you're the underdog, you kind of take on this us versus the world mentality. And I think the longer we've been kind of one of the better teams near the top, that mentality doesn't really get you as far. So you got to kind of focus on yourselves and just try and play the best ultimate you can. And that's what we did. We just focused on ourselves and focused on how much fun we were having with each other. And we don't really care what everyone else thinks.
So, disappointing moment at the end of the third quarter, obviously. You guys call a timeout, looking for a 3-goal lead. Drost gets the D. They get back within 1. Do you remember what you said to the team in the huddle going into the 4th?
I mean, what did I say? I don't remember, honestly, but I just know that we were not done yet. Like we expected to be close at the end. We kind of joked about how we didn't want to go up too much too early because we'd rather kind of play in a tight game, play from behind. Honestly, we play better when we're like trying to fight back. So it's tough nursing the lead out here against a good team, and you don't want to get complacent in the 4th quarter. So we kind of just embraced that like battle mentality, and we knew the whole way that it was going to be hard. So we weren't scared when that happened. It would have been nice to be up 3 going into the 4th, but it was all just like it was part of the plan.
What was the moment like when Russell hit McAllister in the deep shot?
Oh, that was awesome. I mean, yeah, Connor has been a great offensive weapon for us, and seeing that lefty flick go up, I thought for a second, is that too far? And then I saw Tim run it down. I was like, that's it right there. That was a big one for us.
I've heard the word belief used so many times, and how you've instilled this belief into this team despite the hard losses, despite the past playoff disappointments. Where did that belief come from within you? And how, you can instill it in everyone else, but for you've taken a lot of punches and kept getting back up.
Yeah, kind of like I said earlier, I feel like the confidence is earned. I know that North Carolina is one of the best ultimate hotbeds in the country right now, and we have been for several years. So, despite some heartbreaking losses, again, we've been at the top for a while. I'm not ashamed to lose in the semifinals. I think that's a great accomplishment. And so, even though it's heartbreaking, it's nothing to be ashamed of. So that confidence has just been there. We know we're good, and despite not finishing it off in years past.
There's that final throw.
There's that final throwaway.
I just knew when it was 10 seconds left, I was just gonna hang on to it and jack it real far. Like I knew the game was over at that point, and so it was just kind of fun.
There's 2 things. Personally, we go way back.
High school.
Yes, I think I was a senior when you were a freshman, and you beat me in state finals, and that started the Pennsbury High School championship run. That hurt me, but what maybe hurt me a little bit more was hearing you at the start of the season on the podcast, on the Rally Radiance and Flyers podcast. You said they asked you about who are you concerned about in this division, this new division. You mentioned Atlanta, you mentioned New York, and then they were like, well, what about DC? And you said, oh, they started to win some games against us, but I always feel like we beat them when it matters. And that actually motivated me throughout the season. You must have incredible belief because you were living rent-free in my head for the whole season. Real talk.
I hate to say it, but we did beat you when it matters.
You literally did. You literally did. We punched you twice, and I was like, we got him. We got him. And you guys just came through with a clutch performance in that 3rd and final game. Right there, that's maybe a nice anecdote about the belief. How are you able to deliver that message in a way that's uplifting to your team, or not dismissing the opponent? You talked about complacency being a concern. If you dismiss the DC breeze, perhaps your team might get complacent in moments like that. How do you walk that line?
No, it's a tough balance between building yourselves up, but you don't want to overlook the opponent. You don't want to act like this team is not good and it's just going to automatically go your way. So I think part of it is just, even though we say, we're going to beat them when it matters, we know it's not going to be easy. So it's part of that is just instilling that confidence, but at the same time embracing the challenge and knowing that it's going to be a battle and we're going to be tested, and that we want that. We want to earn it. And so I think that was part of the message when we played DC in the playoffs, and part of the message out here tonight is that it's not going to be easy, and we don't want it to be easy. We want to earn the wins, and we want to, see what we've got deep down inside and see how good we are. So I think that's just part of it. So you want to have that little mental edge, and so you try and get that with saying, oh, we always beat DC when it matters. But at the same time, we respect DC, and you guys obviously beat us twice, and so we knew it was not going to be just a walk in the park. So just try and walk that balance of embracing the challenge, really.
Defensively, how'd you get New York out of their game?
I think when it comes down to it, we just like to play gritty person-to-person defense, and I think that's what worked for us best today. I mean, we had, again, our team is so deep that we had pretty much 2 full D lines. We just alternated most of the game, and it allows us to just really go hard when we're out there. You know you're not playing every D point, so when you're on the field, you can really go all out on your matchup. And I think that's what really helped us get the edge. You see a couple different guys make big plays when it matters. They're not playing as many points as the New York guys are. So, we had a couple zony points that kind of slowed them down, and that helped maybe throw off the rhythm a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think just the gritty man-person defense is kind of what did it for us.
You get a chance to talk to the team kind of just in a huddle after the game, or has that moment not happened yet?
No, that moment really hasn't happened yet. It's been a lot of just kind of individual hugs and, a lot of one-on-one connections, and just, the huddle around the trophy was pretty cool, but we didn't really bring it in and say anything afterwards yet. I didn't really think about that.
What will the message be? You can rehearse your message to the team right here, right now.
Again, it's just how proud I am of the team and the work we put in, and North Carolina Ultimate in general. And, I'm mostly proud that we maintained that belief the whole way. When things got tough this season, we never counted ourselves out, and that's what it takes to be a champion.
Noah Saul, congratulations. You are an AUDL champion. You got the gear to prove it.
That's right.
And we'll let you go and go enjoy it the evening with your teammates. Congratulations.
Thanks,
again,
I appreciate it.
Really
Thank
happy for you and you guys.
Thanks.
Wow. Well, we've gotten the good post-game sound. I mean, it's been a long time coming for these guys, and it's hard not to be happy for them. I imagine you have mixed feelings, but first of all, thank you for being here, because your insight and analysis has been unbelievable.
Thanks.
All weekend long, and I don't think we can afford you to get you off the sideline and into the booth, but.
No, I don't think my ownership team will let that happen. I mean, we had such a great year. We'll have to run that back.
That would be a waste of a really good coach, Daryl. I can say that myself. No.
So we should wrap up momentarily, but just go around and give final thoughts. And Daryl, we'll start with you.
Saul, Yannick, you're the MVP today, man. If I got the opportunity to vote for an award for this game, for this postseason run that Raleigh has, I'd give it to you. I think you're incredible. Great job. And I just thought, we kept saying, is there that talismanic leader? Is there that go-to player? Saul just did that all the way down in clutch time. So congrats, man. You earned it.
I thought this was an exemplary display of program development coming to fruition. Daryl, you said it. Dinardis has had his hand on the triangle. You certainly had a lot of input on how these players are growing and developing, and you see the fruits of the labor, right? It was a full team effort, and that's so much more exciting. So much more exciting to watch a performance where everyone is on the same page, just gelling. It was a beautiful game of Ultimate, and even sweeter because it was a championship game.
If you know me, I love the sport for the relationships with the people, the players, the sport that it brings, and I think I'm surprised at how emotional I felt listening to the players appreciate this victory. The storybook is true. It's real. It was wonderful to see them win, especially in a year coming out of a really tough year for everybody. This has just been a really special moment, and I appreciate being here with you guys. Evan, it's been a treat, and this has been just a wonderful experience.
And I think it's worth mentioning that, look, I mean, I've seen every AUDL championship game in person since 2014. I've been really lucky. This means something different now than it did 7 years ago. Let's be honest. I mean, those Bay Area teams were great, but there was a different level of passion and program and desire with Mike Dinardis and his boys. And look, I think, part of that is the heartbreak that they endured. Part of that is the pandemic and reinvigorating your passion for the game. Part of it is the opponent that they vanquished tonight. I mean, the New York Empire are a championship team, and I think all of us could have easily envisioned them blowing Raleigh out of Audi Field tonight. Like, they could have won 24-17, and it wouldn't have been all that shocking, because we've seen Raleigh struggle in big moments, and we've seen New York look so dominant. But the way Raleigh was able to put their best game together on the best stage in this moment, And yeah, I mean, I don't know who's the MVP, Daryl. I mean, you make a good case for Saul. He was unbelievable, but like that's the thing about this Raleigh team. It's really tough to pick an MVP.
Yeah. It'll be a different player every single game, right? Different player steps up. Different players is that person. That's a team effort. I love it.
Well, it's been a team effort here in Washington, D.C. and throughout our AUDL coverage all season long. And Megan, you were the host of this show, so I apologize for
Take it away,
stepping
Evan,
on your toes.
please. I
But
would be delighted.
man, I didn't have a chance at the end of our broadcast to thank Luke Johnson and Ian Lunger and Ashley Cuba, and I gave Roman Jennings a shout out, our gimbal operator, getting those unbelievable close-up sideline shots. But it's been a privilege working with Tyler and Megan and Charlie and Ian and Brian Jones throughout the season. And like the coaches in this league are just unbelievable. I mean, how generous you are with your time, how honest you are with your insights and your willingness to you lose a heartbreaking game a week ago, and I asked you about it after the game. Would you be interested in joining us? And not only are you here, but you're prepared. You know Chicago, you know San Diego. You bring the goods, you bring the spice with Noah. I love it. So, I mean, and that really could extend to every coach in the entire league, all 22 teams from U.S. to Canada. So I am tremendously grateful to have done this for almost 15 consecutive weeks. I had to skip 1 week because of circumstances beyond my control, but that's the world we live in these days, and hope to do it again next year. Hopefully we can start the season. I've heard late April, early May to get the season underway in 2022, so all that information is still to come. May have some new teams, may have some new exciting plans and new divisional shuffles, so lots of exciting stuff ahead. But it's been a privilege to be here. Charlie Eisenhood, Aiden Shapiro-Layton, Lindsay Sue, our entire crew. For Daryl, Megan, Tyler, I'm Evan Lepler saying good night from Audi Field. That's a wrap from Championship Weekend, presented by Guaranteed Rate. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.